Om. Om. Om.
ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः प्रज्ञानां शुप्रतानैः स्थिरचरनिकरव्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् सविष्ठान् पुनरपि धिषणोत् भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुङ् मायया भोजयन्नः माया सङ्ख्यातुरीयं परममृतमजम् ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि यो विश्वात्मा विधिज विषयान् प्राश्य भोगान् स्थविष्ठान् पश्चाचान्यान् स्वमतिविभवान् ज्योतिषा स्वेन सूक्ष्मान् सर्वानेतान् पुनरपि शनैः स्वात्मनि स्थापयित्वा हित्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् विगतगुणगणः पात्वसौ नस्तुरीयः
प्रकृत्याकाशवज्ञेयाः सर्वे धर्मा अनादया विद्यते न हि नानात्वं तेषां क्वचन किंचन. Here in this earlier Karika 91, Sarve Dharma, all jivas, atmas, should be known in their reality was told. The Neyaha word can produce a doubt as Atma should be known as an object of our knowledge. Just as in the world, whatever we know as an object. Like that, Atma also has to be known as an object. This doubt is now being dispelled in the 92nd Karika. Please read 92nd Karika.
आदिबुद्धा प्रकृत्यैव सर्वे धर्मासु निश्चिताः यस्यैवं भवति क्षान्तिः सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते
प्रकृत्या एव आदिबुद्धाः प्रकृत्या एव सर्वे धर्माः आदिबुद्धाः सुनिश्चिताः यस्य एवं क्षान्तिः भवति स saha amrutatvaya kalpate. Sarve dharma, sarve atmana, sarve jiva, all jivas, prakritya eva, by their very swabhava, by their very swarupa, by their very nature, are what? Adi Buddha. Adi Buddha means from beginning, Bodha Swarupa. They are nothing but mere knowledge principle. Adi Buddha has to be taken as Nitya Bodha Swarupa. Their true nature itself is Nitya Bodha, always knowledge principle, not the knowledge produced by some antakarana vritti. No, itself is knowledge principle. For example, the light that moon emits is produced by the who? Sunlight. But sunlight is what? Adi Prakasha. Itself nature. So also here, this Atma, Jivas, in reality, are Nitya Bodha Swarupa. It is not something to be known as an object produced by Antakarana Vritti with Chidabhasa in it. No doubt, in the beginning, Atmakara Vritti is required. Chidabhasa is there, but it is redundant. But it is to remove the ignorance. The ignorance in the buddhi. Remove. Afterwards, what remains is Swaprakasha, Nitya Bodha Swarupa, Adi Buddha, Chaitanya Swarupa, Atma only remains. Prakriteva. And Sunishchitaha. You need not ascertain is it this way or that way. It is not in your hand. Its Swarupa itself is what? Nitya Bodha Swarupa, Nitya Prakash Swarupa, in the sense it is aprameya. Aprameya. It is not an entity that can be known as the prameya, object of knowledge of any pramana. Pramana, jnana sadhana, is necessary to know an inert entity. That pramana produces tattadakara vritti. Vritti corresponding to the entity to be known. It removes the ignorance, but object is inert. The Chidabhasa in that makes you reveal or reveals you the object. The Chidabhasa has got function. Technically, we have discussed this many times. That is called Phalavyapti. Abhasa, Chidabhasa in the Vrittis Phalavyapti, it reveals the object. Whereas Vritti Vyapti, Vritti corresponds to the object, removes the, you see, it is called Vritti Vyapti, removes the ignorance. Whereas here, Atmakara Vritti, Brahmakara Vritti, or called Akhandakara Vritti, is necessary to remove the ignorance. Afterwards, what happens? Self-evident Atma, Brahma, Adhot remains. That's why elsewhere in the Anubhuti Prakasha, in some chapter, Vidyaranya Muni points out, Swaprabhe Mana Naishkalya. Swaprabhe. In the case of an entity, which itself is luminous in terms of knowledge principle. Itself is Swaprakasha, self-luminous knowledge principle. Mana Naishvalya. Pramana becomes Nishphala, redundant, not necessary. That is what is pointed out here. See, we have not told you to know it is the object. Because you don't know it, you are in ignorance. Therefore, we have to use the word Neya. Truly speaking, themselves are what? Jivas in reality are nothing but Swaprakasha, Swayam Jyoti, Swaprabha, Jnana Tattva, Nyapti Tattva. It is what? They are well ascertained as what? Nitya Bodha Swarupa, Nitya Prakasha Swarupa, Aprameya. In the sense, note it, in Atma, there is no room for Ajnana. Ajnana is not the intrinsic feature of Atma. Always self-evident knowledge principle. But that Ajnana is in our buddhi. That's why all this is necessary. So in reality, they are what? Adi Buddha Sunishitaha. The person who has discovered this, he is the one who gets liberated. Yasya evam kshanti bhavati. Yasya evam. In the case of the person, a dhyani, evam. Evam means this direct cognition that Atma is Nitya Swaprakasha Suradrupa Chaitanya. Always the self-evident, self-luminous knowledge principle. Like this, Kshantihi Bhavati. Kshanti. So that what here that is. Shanti is independence in terms of knowing oneself, even the necessity of antakarana vritti. See, getting absorbed in Atma Sarupa without being disturbed by other vrittis of the Jagat. See, this word Shanti, those who have studied Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad Gita Bhasya, Shanti de Arjavam, 13th chapter. Shanti there is described as Paraparadhe Praptau Chittasya Avikriya. Mind not reacting, keeping the mind quiet, non-reactive, even on the face of someone who has done you wrong. If someone does wrong to us without any fault on our mind gets disturbed. Even in such case, keeping that cool of the mind, avikriyatva, that's what Shanti. Here also, here means not being affected by the so-called superimposed Jagat, mind absorbed in Swarupa. So that is Shanti. Saha amrutatvaya kalpate. Literally, it means such a person becomes fit to gain immortality, means to discover oneself to be the Avinashi Swarupa Atma, free from birth and death. You see the Bhasya. That earlier Karika Jneyaha was told about that. Bhashyakara says, I think last time we have seen this. Anyway, Jneyata api dharmanam. Dharmanam, Atmanam, Jivanam. Of these so-called jivas who are in reality Atma Swarupa only, Jneyata, giving a status as entity to be known. That status, that also is what? Samvritya eva. This word we already seen earlier. Samvritya means avidya kalpita vyavaharena. The vyavahar, the practice, the dealing based on avidya, ignorance of yours. Samvritya eva avidya kalpita vyavaharena. No paramarthata. In reality, there is nothing to be known Atma. It's self-evident. We have already seen. Swaprabhe Mananaishvalya. Self-evident means no pramana can work. Even in Atma Jnana, we do say Vedanta is pramana. Yes, it is pramana up to the point of removing ignorance by the vritti itself becoming Atmakara, wherein that pramata, knower who was superimposed goes because vritti is Atmakara. There is no locus standi for pramata. The pramata goes means what? Pramana goes. Pramana is operated by pramata. What remains is Swaprabha Atma. So at the final lap, the pramana is Atma itself. Because self-evident. So Paramartha iti ah. That is what Karika we have seen. So because Yasmad Adau Buddha Adi Buddha. What is Adi Buddha? Adau Buddha. So Yasmad gives the reason. Adau. From the beginning means by their nature. Buddha. So that is what? Prakasha Sarupaha Saprakasha. Adi Buddha. How? Prakritya eva. What does it mean by Prakritya eva? Swabhavataha eva. The jivas, by their very swarupa, by their very nature, are what? Adi Buddha means self-evident knowledge principle. For which an illustration is given. Yatha, just as Nitya Prakasha Sarupa Savita Evam. Nitya Prakasha Sarup. Savita. Savita is Surya, the sun, with always the luminous principle. Always the self-luminous light principle. Prakasha Sarupa. Like that, Evam. These dharma also, the jivas also, Nitya Bodha Swarupa Ityartha. They are Nitya Bodha Swarupa. Always of the nature of self-evident knowledge principle. Ityartha, that is what is meant by Adi Buddha. If you want Anvaya, you can take this way. Yasma, the reason is given. Yatha, just as. So Savita, the who, Sad, Prakritya eva, by the Prakriti, by Swabhava itself, Swabhavata eva, Nitya Prakash Swarup, always self-evident light principle. Evam, the same manner, and Dharma, Jivas, Nitya Bodha Swarupa, that is Nitya Bodha Swarupa, Nitya Prakasha Rupa, iti artha. This is what is meant by Adi Buddha. The Sarve Dharma, what is that? Bhasya continues. Sarve Atmana. So who? Sarve Atmana. All Jivas, or Atma, Atmana. Now, the word Sunishchitaha is being explained. Bhasya continues. न च तेषां निश्चयः कर्तव्यः नित्य निश्चित स्वरूपाः इति अर्थः. तेषां आत्मनां जीवानां Atma, because Jiva means Avidya still is there. Of that Atma Jiva, who in reality are Atmas, he actually is, because Atma are not plural. Tesham Nishchaya na kartavya. They are not something meant for decide. Is it this way? Is it that way? Etc. No. Definiteness about their nature is there. So therefore they say Nitya Nishchita Swarupa. They are always what? Having the definite, non-changing Swarupa in the sense, even in the realm of your ignorance, there is no change in the Atma. Even when your realm of bondage, there is neither bondage for Atma nor liberation for Atma. So that is, so therefore, why these two words are used? Adi Buddha, that is Sunishita, to point out that is in Atma Swarupa, there is no ajnana at all. There is no ignorance at all. Atma can never be covered by ignorance. Just as sun cannot be covered by clouds. And yet we say sun is clouded, covered. What does it mean? Your eyesight is covered, not the sun. Likewise, Ajnana we say of Atma because Buddhi has got Ajnana, not Atma. Even that Ajnana in your Buddhi is made known to you by Atma, not knowledge principle. Just as when you say the sun is covered by clouds, that sun only makes you aware that the clouds are there and it has covered your sight. But sun is not covered. So like this means, really speaking, Atma cannot be covered by ignorance also. So that therefore there is no ambiguity about the nature of Atma. In the Atma Swarupa, there is no room for ignorance, there is no room for doubt. So that means because of which Atma has to become an object of knowledge. Where there is a room for ignorance, you have to know it. Where there is room for doubts, you have to clarify them. You have to dispel them. In Atma, ignorance is not possible. Doubts are not possible. The nature is definite. And yet all this drill is required to make your buddhi know it, which is ignorant. Bhasya continuing. Na sandiyamana sarupa evam naivam cha iti. What is meant by Sudishita Sarupa means evam na evam cha iti na sandiyamana sarupa. Atma Jiva have no nature. It may have such a nature, it may have that type of nature, this type of nature, that type of nature. Room for such sandeha is not at all. Definitely they are what? Nitya Bodha Swarupaha. The one who has got such knowledge is Mukta. Bhashya continued. Yasya mumukshoho evam yathokta prakarena sarvada bodha nishchaya nirapekshata atmartham parartham va yatha savita nityam prakashantara nirapeksha स्वार्थम परार्थम च इति एवं भवति शांति बोध कर्तव्यता निरपेक्षता सर्वदा स्वात्मनि सह अमृतत्वाय अमृत भावाय कल्पते. Kalpate becomes fit, eligible for what? Amritatvaya, Amrita Bhavaya, to discover oneself to be immortal, ever existent principle, free from birth and death. With that person, Yasya Mokshohu, in the case of that Mukshu, we are now walking the path. Evam, what is Evam? Yathokta Prakarena, as told earlier, as Atma is Swaprakasha, Adibuddha, Sunishchita, etc. There is no room for any doubt or ignorance or doubt. So that is Yathokta Prakarena, as described earlier, Sarvada Bodha Nishchaya Nirapekshata. Never any knowledge required because it has no bondage, it has no ignorance, therefore no bondage, therefore no liberation. So it is Sarvada Bodha Nishchaya. Bodha Nishchaya means ascertainment in term called as Bodha knowledge. Ascertainment called as Nirapekshata, not necessary. Because once the ignorance is gone, your Swarupa gets revealed and you discover no ignorance, no bondage, no liberation. And such absence of necessity, Atmartham Parartham, either to know oneself that I don't need anything else, or I need something else to know me. Parartham, to make other discover something is required. No. Independent, itself knowledge principle, for which illustration is given. Yatha Savita, just as sun, Nityam, always what? Prakashantara nirapeksha. Nirapeksha, independent of the necessity of any light principle. For whom? Both. Swartham parartham cha iti eva. To make oneself illumined, to make oneself revealed, or to make something else revealed or known. To know itself or to make other things to know means to illumine itself or to illumine other entities. Sun doesn't depend on anyone else. So also, Atma, to know itself as a Jnana Sarupa, no other Jnana required, knowledge required. To make others know the Jada, in fact, no other knowledge required, itself is enough. So that is why always knowledge principle, which has never got lost, wherein no ajnana is there, thereby wherein no bondage is there, and therefore no liberation is there. Nitya Bodha Swarupa, always knowledge principle, Paramananda Swarupa, free from sorrow. Evam, as demonstrated now, Shanti Bhavati. The person gets the Shanti. What is Shanti? Bodha Kartavyata Nirapekshata. No dependence on anything whatsoever to gain the knowledge. Means to ascertain it is of such and such nature, no pramana is necessary. Itself is evident, and the ignorance in the buddhi is now removed. Swarupa is clear even to the buddhi now. So it's what Shanti means. A state, in short, we can take this way, a state of abidance of the mind in Atma Swarupa. Atma, mind becomes just like the Atma, the very all-pervasive knowledge principle, Paramanda Swarupa. Sarvada, all the time, even in ignorance it also, state of ignorance it also. Such a person, Saha, one who is like this, who has known that is what? Such a Kshanti he has got. Such an absorption of the mind in the Atma Swarupa is there. That person, Amrutatvaya, Amrita Bhavaya, is for moksha. Kalpate, Samartha Bhavati, becomes fit, means is eligible. Such a person only becomes mukta. In short, what is meant by Somritatvaya Kalpate, Bhashyakara gives the gist of it. Mokshaya samartha bhavati ityartha. Such jnani becomes eligible to gain moksha, means he gets liberated. Another problem. See how the Shastra, which attempts to describe Atma Brahma, which is indescribable by words, and yet when it attempts so, at every stage, the doubt that crops up because of the use of words earlier need to be dispelled one by one. As and when new and new doubts crop up because of usages of words earlier which are necessary, those doubts have to be removed. So now, Saha Amritatvaya Kalpati. He becomes eligible to become immortal. Means now he is not immortal. So such a doubt is possible that is being removed in the Karika 93. Please read 93 Karika.
आदिशान्तायनुत्पन्नाः प्रकृत्यैव सुनिर्वृताः सर्वे धर्मा समाभिन्ना अजं साम्यं विशारदम्
Sarve dharma prakrutya eva hi adishantaha anutpannaha sunirvrataha sama samabhinnaha samaha cha abhinnaha. Sama abhinnaha is there. So sama plus that is samaha cha abhinnaha samabhinnaha. Add evam atmatattvam ajam samyam visharadam sarve dharma. All jivas, all atmas means all jivas. Dharma. Prakrutya eva, by their very swarupa, that is, they are, you can also take directly sunirvrataha. Sunirvrata means sushtu uparata svabhava, means totally withdrawn from adhyasta jagat, adhyasta samsara. And therefore they are adishanta. See, prakrutyaha hi, well known in the Shastra, Prasiddh in Shastra, and Vidvad Anubhava. Adishanta. Adishantaha means by the very nature Shanta. That's same thing, Sunirvrata. The withdrawn means they have nothing to do anything whatsoever with the Adhyastha Prapancha. Just that rope has nothing to do with the superimposed snake or a garland or a stick or whatever you imagine that. So it is for problem for us, not for the rope. Problem for us, not for the Atma. Us means who? Ajnani with the buddhi, ignorance of the buddhi. See, that is how. Again, yes. Anutpannaha, birthless. There is no birth for them. So Sunirvrata, totally withdrawn from all the superimposed jagat. And therefore, Samacha Abhinna. They are one and the same knowledge principle. Abhinnaha, no two Atmas are there. One and the same Sarvavyapi Atma, which is avikriya, non-changing, which has no vishesha, nirvishesha, nirguna. Features of superimposed jagat, upadhis are not there at all in the abhinnaha. And this way, evam, the Atma Tattva, is ajam, unborn, Samyam means samata rupa, always the same. Visharadam, Vishuddham, free from mala of samsara. By their very nature, unborn, non-changing, totally free from the mala, impurity of samsara. The nature itself, if you want to use the word moksha, by nature itself is mukta swarupa. Actually, that word cannot be used because there is no bondage. But you have got bondage now, therefore you have to put nitya mukta swarupa. Vishardam. Take the Bhasya. Tatha napi shanti karvatavyata atmani iti a. Just as earlier. So, there was no question of knowing as an object. So here also, there is no question of what? Withdrawal from the Jagat. In Atma Swarupa means once you know it. That is what happens. See, in the case of these people who follow the Yoga Shastra, they take to Patanjali Yoga and follow Sankhya. Duality is there. For them, Jagat is real. And in Nirvika Samadhi, no Jagat. Once you come out of that, again Jagat is there because they consider the mind and the Jagat to be real. When it is real, they have to go on avoiding it. Always be in the Nirvika Samadhi. Impossible. How can you be 24/7 in Nirvika Samadhi? Because it's wrong notion. That is, Jagat is real, mind is real. So that is like that, for this person, Jnani is not necessary. He knows there was no Jagat, there is no mind, all that is there is me, Chaitanya Sarupa. So if you want to use the word bondage, Nitya Mukta Sarupa. Always liberated in the sense, even in the so-called realm of ignorance, when me as a jiva was suffering the calamitous samsara, even at that time, my Swarupa Chaitanya was ever free from this calamitous samsara. That is what I need to discover, I need to be aware of. That is what I need to experience aparokshataha. So therefore, Atmani Shanti Kartavyata na iti. As far as the Atma Swarupa is concerned, he need not go on once he had discovered Swarupa, no more such withdrawal. Of course, for Jivan Mukti is necessary, but not for bondage. They're different. Jivan Mukti aspect different because Tattva Jnana makes you freed from bondage. But now, if you want to get unaffected by prarabdha sukha dukkha, your mind needs to be absorbed in the Sarupa. That Tattva Jnana needs to be supplemented by Vasanakshaya and Manonasha, the Jivan Mukti topic is. So as far as Atma is concerned, there is nothing called withdrawal from this because by nature it is free from that. Iti aha, that is what this Karika. Continue Bhasya. Yasmad Adishanta. Because Adishanta, what is meant by Adishanta? Nityam eva Shanta. Nityam is Shanta. In the sense, always free from the cognition of Jagat which breeds ashanti, which breeds dukkha. So here, by nature itself, they are adishantaha, means they have discovered niratishaya ananda swarupa, no trace of jagat. They discovered niratishaya ananda swarupa because that is the atma swarupa. Adishantaha. Nityam eva shantaha. Anutpannaha. The meaning is given. Ajahacha. Also unborn. No birth, no death, ever existent principle. How? Prakrutya eva. By their very nature. And by nature, sunirrita. Meaning is sushtu uparata swabhava. By nature itself, totally withdrawn from Jagat, its features called samsara. It is not there at all. All this effort is to discover that it is not there by experiencing Swarupa. Ityartha. Who are these? Who are like this? Sarve Dharma from Karika. They are Samaha cha Abhinnaha cha Samabhinna. All jivas, in reality Atmas, are what? Samaha, same, one and the same Chaitanya Swarupa, Nyapti Swarupa, Abhinnaha, therefore, not different from one another, not different from one another. And that being the case, the Atma Swarupa is Ajam, free from birth, death, Samyam Visharadam, the sameness, Visharadam is, meaning is given. Vishuddham Atma Tattva. The Atma Tattva which is Vishuddha, free from Ajnana and Ajnana Karya. Chaitanya and Chaitanya alone is neither bondage nor liberation. This being so, Yasmat Tasmat. Because Atma is so, therefore, Yasmat Tasmat. Shantim Shantihi Mokshaha va nasti kartavyaha ityartha. This is the Swarupa. So, for the person, this is for the individual. You need not practice what is called as Shanti. See, this is when the mind is absorbed in the Swarupa. Thereafter, you need not put forth any effort to do this. What is that? Shanti means to dispel the superimposed Jagat and acquire the limitless Ananda. You need not, because you are by Swarupa. So, Mokshaha, or you need not do something to get freed from sorrow, because Atma Swarupa itself is free from sorrow. You have discovered what you are. That itself is limitless Ananda. That itself is free from sorrow. To gain Nirtishyan, the limitless happiness, to get freed from sorrow, you need not put forth any further effort, because your Swarupa is so, which you have discovered. Earlier it got denied to you because of ignorance, but you have discovered it now. No such effort necessary. So therefore, Shantihi Mokshaha va Kartavyaha nasti ityartha. There is nothing that you need to do. All this We should gain, we should get freedom, etc. We have to say, because the realm of ignorance, we cannot make you understand without using such words. But in reality, there is nothing like that. You are by Swarupa. He summarizes now the gist of this Karika. Nahi nityaika swabhavasya. Add moksha sambandhitaya. Add moksha sambandhitaya. Kritam kinchit arthavatsya. Asha continued. Kritam kinchit arthavatsya. He, because nityaika swabhavasya. Atma is always Eka Swarupa. What is Eka Swarupa? Paramananda Swarupa, totally free from sorrowful samsara. Always so. You disowned it. You mistook it. Your problem. Once you have gained that Atma Jnana, it says, Nityaika Swabhavasya. As for the Atma who is always of the same nature of Paramam Swarupa, free from sorrow, Moksha Sambandhitaya. In order to gain moksha, something to be done to gain the moksha, there, kritam kinchit, whatever you do, no in the beginning, no arthavatsya, no prayojanavatsya, cannot become useful. Not necessary. Always so. You're already healthy. What you need to get? Be healthy. No. Of course, here you have to maintain it. There is nothing, because here it is subject to change. Atma Swarupa not subject to change. So therefore, always Nitya Paramanda Swarupa, free from sorrow. No, once you discover that, no efforts to acquire happiness, get away from sorrow, such efforts are not necessary. So having revealed the Atma Swarupa, so Gaudapadacharya now, to induce the mukshu, to enthuse the mukshu, to put forth more and more efforts to discover such Atma Swarupa, I have described so far. He is criticizing and condemning the Ajnanis, so that Mumukshu should put forth more and more efforts to get rid of that ignorance. So therefore, take the Prastavana Bhasya. Ye yathoktam paramartha tattvam pratipanna te eva akripanaha loke. Kripanaha eva anne iti aha. Ye, those people. Yathoktam paramartha tattvam. The Paramartha Swarupa, which was described so far. Pratipannaha. Pratipannaha means jnatavantaha. Who are known directly in Sakshatkara, in Aparokshanubhava. Te eva. In the world, only such people are what? See, the eva, is there, eva is there. Akripanaha, not kripana. Akripanaha means They are not mean. They are not wretched in the sense. Adukhitaha. They can never be sorrowful. Paramananda Swarupa they have discovered. Akripanaha means adukhinaha. They are sorrowless. Whereas Anne, we have not discovered this. Kripanaha eva. Dinaha. Mean. Wretched. So that is miserable. So the lot is misery only. So that be the case, the ignorant people are censured. Read Karika 94.
वैशारध्यं तु वै नास्ति भेदे विचरतां सदा भेदनिम्ना पृथग्वादाः तस्मात् ते कृपणा स्मृताः
Sada Vede Vicharatam Vaisharadyam Tu Asti Sada Vede Vicharatam. Vede Vicharatam Vaisharadyam Tu Nasti, not Asti. Nasti Vai. Nasti Vai. Add Yasmat Prithagvadaha Bheda Nimnaha Te Kripanaha Sprutaha Te Kripanaha Sprutaha. Such people are considered as what? Mean, wretched, miserable. Who are they? Who Sada, always. Bhede Vicharata. In the case of such people who are always in the realm of duality, Veda Dvaita. To such people, Vaisharadhyam. Vaisharadhyam means Vishuddhi. Vishuddhi in the sense of pure Atma Chaitanya Swarupa, Paramananda Swarupa, free from sorrow. Why nasti? Certainly it is not there. I mean, they can't get the Atma Swarupa, which is Paramananda Swarupa, free from sorrow. This being so, Yasmat Tasmat. This being so, therefore. Those people who are Prithagvadaha, who say that Prithak, Nana Vastu are there, duality is there, who say so, Prithagvadaha, and thereby Bheda Nimnaha, engrossed in dualistic world, which is nothing but sorrow. Nimnaha. And therefore, Yasmat, Tasmat is there. Therefore, these people are what? Kripana, Kshudra, mean, wretched, always sorrowful. Vrita. So it is considered by Shastra and Jnanis. O Mumukshu, better you don't become like. Intensify your effort. Don't become Kripana. Already told, Jnanis are Akripanaha, Adukhinaha, free from sorrow. Discovered Paramananda Swarupa. We'll see the Bhasya next time. I think next Sunday evening, that is 5th November evening, morning also, no classes will be there. We'll meet next Sunday, next to that. That is Saturday 11th November will meet, and Sunday 12th November morning evening will meet.
ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ